When I was about 5 years old, he got divorced from my mom, and up until 5th grade, he kept coming back randomly.
My dad left when I was about 5 years old completely. He came back and he left before that, but I haven't seen him since I was 5, and that's when he completely left.
If I can't climb up a tree, he'll help me. If I'm failing, he'll help me. It's just bottom line, he'll help me.
So when your natural father did leave, what did you feel about him leaving?
Well, at first I wasn't really understanding of that he was gone and that I didn't have a dad there. But then over the years I realized that he was gone and that I felt that I deserved a dad, and he just passed up his opportunity to be my dad.
I felt confused, and I felt like he didn't really love me, and I was just not understanding why he would leave and why he would do the things he would do to my mom. And it was just very confusing for me.
As when I was little, we would always play games together. And then as I got older, it's like started to walk away.
To be a father is to have a young child and to raise it, teach it what it's right and wrong, educate it, prepare them to be on their own. And then when they get rich and get lots of money, they take care of me.
He would call constantly, and he would always come over when she didn't want him to, and he was very a controlling man. He was pretty possessive. He made her do stuff for him, and I don't know. It's controlling. He was controlling. And then when I was about 5, my mom and dad, they got divorced, and he moved back to Las Cruces with his mom and the rest of his family.
He would come and go, He would only come if he needed a place to stay. And he'd tell my mom that it was the last time that he'd be here, that he'd be good to us. He'd stay there a couple nights, be drunk all the time, and then steal money from my mom. And he kept getting in and out of prison, and he just was never there.
We knew that someone who does that isn't really a good person, and we didn't really like that about him. And he always would say that my mom brainwashed us and told us that he was a bad person, but we could decide for ourselves whether he was bad or not. And he just always came back, and he just tried to be a good dad to us, but he never was. He thought he was trying to be a good dad, but he never really was. He was really bad, and he wasn't a good dad at all. No matter how hard he tried and no matter what he did, he was not a good dad. He would be really mean to me, my older sister, and he would lock her in the cars or lock her in her room sometimes and just not let her come out, and he'd yell at her, and he'd yell at my mom, he'd yell at me. It wasn't really, really good. And finally, around 5th grade, he just said that he didn't care, or he gave up, and he hasn't talked to me or called me.
We're kind of close. I mean, we're not close when he takes my phone away, but yeah, we're close-ish.
We had the big front room then. I'd get on one side and hold you, and then I'd let you go and see how far you go before you fell down. Letting you learn to walk. And they used to ride on my back a lot. We'd play horse until you broke your arm. You fell off and broke your arm.
So when I was little, I remember just a little bit of this man that was supposed to be my dad, and he was there, and I loved him because he was my dad. You love your dad as long as they're supposed to be a dad to you. But over the next few years, I didn't see him as a dad to me, because he didn't do what the rest of my friends' dads did. He would beat my mom he would steal money from us, he would leave us. And I remember this time we were driving down Severus Road, and I was in the back seat with my brother, and I couldn't have been older than 5, and he was sitting in the passenger seat, my mom was driving, and he kept hitting her, and we were swerving. And I remember telling my brother, maybe if we, climbed under the seats, maybe then we'd stay alive, because I know we're going to die someday because of him. And I just remember having this, hatred in my heart for him because of how bad he treated my mom and how bad he treated me and how bad he treated my brother.
He would always come back randomly, and he'd always, when he was back, he would yell at my mom and hit her and just fight with her. And the only reason, I don't really know why he would come back, probably just for money. And he wouldn't really do anything except fight with her and try to get her money. And he was always really mean to me and my sister. Sometimes he would try to be nice to us and try to get us to like him, but he always knew that we never really wanted to be around him because he just didn't treat my mom very well.
So I guess they got a divorce, but I didn't really know what that was at the time. And then my mom, she was a single parent with 3 kids and another one on the way, and life was already hard for her to provide for all of us. And then the baby died 2 weeks before she was to be born, and my mom completely lost it. She broke down. That was the last straw for her, and it was just really hard seeing her and her trying to stand by herself with no one there to even help her. And then she met my dad right now, and they dated for a short time, and then he proposed to her, and so they got married. And I call him my dad because he is my dad, and the other guy, he wasn't a dad at all to me. He was just a person that used my mom and wasn't there for anyone in our house. And so I call my dad right now my dad because he loves me and he takes care of me, and he's always going to be there for me whenever I need something. Whenever I need help from a math problem, he's right there. And every time I just can't deal with school anymore, he's right there to catch me and put me back up. And I love my dad because he's everything a dad is supposed to be to me. And I think that if I didn't have my dad with me, and if he never came into my life, then I never would have gone to church, and I never would have become a Christian, and I never would have had any hope for anything ever again, because he introduced that to me, and he brought me to all the places I needed to be to get to that point. And I just really love him because I know he's not going to treat me bad or leave me. I don't have to worry about coming home and him not being there.
What role do you play in the family?
The role in the family to provide for all you girls, 3 girls. Make sure you have a roof over your head. Make sure you're on the right path.
Well, I sing lots of songs to her. Silly songs, and we have lots of weird names for her. Depending on her mood, we call her different names. So sometimes she's one way and we call her something, and she's another way and we call her something else.
What's the relationship you have with the family? Each different child and my mom.
My wife.
Yes, my mom.
Well, we could start with your mom. This is my wife. I love her, very much. Our relationship's good. We talk a lot about you guys. If you guys are doing bad, good.
We're locked out. We don't know how to get back in. We probably have half an hour
Oh my god, that
So-
means we only have 2.5 hours to finish our movie.
And we have 2.5 hours to finish our movie. Wow, this sucks. And we're locked in a courtyard. Well. Sorry, Ed.
What role does your